Hey guys, I just want to come on here and share a few things with you. So this past weekend's been a little rough for me. For some of you that know what's going on, I want to thank you guys for being there for me. And it's just been difficult. I felt like there's something in my life that God was placing on my heart, and that I had to follow through no matter how difficult it was. And I believe that it was really God testing my faith to see that me saying, God, I trust you, God, I'll do anything for you, and really just praying that God's will would be my will, that despite what I want, despite my desires, that it would be God's plan, that it would be what He wants for me, that I would want that He would just work in my heart and do what only He can do. And so after a while of praying, I stepped out of the boat and into faith, and I trusted Him fully and completely despite how scary it was. And yes, there are times when it's difficult, and there are times when I struggle, and when I miss certain things, and when I really it hurts sometimes. And we're not really exempt from the pain, but I think that as long as we trust and know that God's got us and He's got us in His hands, that it's going to work out. And honestly, it's one of the most difficult things, and I think that God's really given me that peace, and that to just know that what He has in store is gonna do bigger things than what I can think He can do right now. And that if you just surrender it all and give it to Him, that He's gonna use you no matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through. And that yes, it hurts right now, but I want you to encourage you that it's going to get better. Because right now I'm looking at the sky, and I'm looking at this beautiful sunset, and I'm looking at the pink clouds, the blue sky, I'm looking at the orange clouds, and it's just amazing. And the past couple of days the sunset's been really pretty. I don't know if you saw it, but just to remind you that the same God who created that sunset, the same God that created the world, the same God who is holding you in His hands, who created you to be the exact image of who you are, He's got your plans. Like, they're already figured out, and He's got you in His hands. And I know I already said that before in my other video, but that it's really true that yes, the hurt is going to be there, yes, the pain is going to be there, yes, you're going to want things to go back to the way they were, because that's kind of what you knew. And sometimes God calls us to go step out in faith out of the boat, to trust Him and to do things that are unexpected. Maybe we didn't expect it to happen this way, maybe we didn't expect it to be like this, and it's really shocking. But it doesn't surprise God. He expected it, He knew it was coming, and He's preparing your heart, and He's preparing our hearts for what He has in store. And so I just want to encourage you that through the hurt, and through the struggle, and through the sorrow, and through the unexpectedness, that God's got you. That if He's calling you to go out and step out in faith out of the boat, like He did with Peter, told him to step out and walk on water, that if you feel like He's calling you and He's pushing it and placing it on your heart, that you need to go and step out in faith, that you got to do it. No matter how uncomfortable it is, He's saying, you just got to let go and trust Him, that, things will work out the way they're supposed to work out. And yes, we want things to go out, but if you think that God created the beautiful sunset and the things in your life and the way that He exactly uniquely designed them and created them with you in mind, that if He doesn't have your best interest in heart, which He does, that don't you think He's got something in store that you just can't see? That yes, what we have right now is really good, and yes, we want this forever, but that's not really how God works. God says you need to be here, so to get there I gotta bring you through some stuff. But don't worry, because as long as you trust in me and you have faith in me, I'm going to get you where you need to go. Because once we start obeying Him and having that obedience, that God's going to take care of the rest. As long as we're willing and trusting and having faith that God's going to do what He says He's going to do, that yes, we're going to go through pain, yes, we're going to go through hurt, yes, we're going to go through that shock of being unexpected and that shock of loss, but God's going to bring you there. If He's called you to it, He's going to get you through it. And that is the truth, that if He says you are going to go out and you are going to reach these people, then you're gonna get there. But you got to get there through a few growing processes, and it's gonna be painful, because sometimes that's what it is. But one of the Bible verses I was reading was I was talking about like sorrow, sadness, and it was saying that, you know, it's really important because it has a refining process on us. And I think that in those times of sadness and those times of hurt, that God's really just growing you and preparing your heart, that, you know, once, you know, you believe that he is going to get you through it, that you're going to get there, and you're going to get there into the person that he called you to be, despite your hurt, despite your pain, because sometimes we need to go through that before we can do what he's called us to do. Because the reason he's going to put those things in our way is to not only test us, but to grow us, and that our character has to be developed before he can use us, right? He's preparing us. And I just want to encourage you that if he is placing something on your heart, if he is telling you you need to go, you know, go out and make this friends with this person, or go out and, you know, get rid of this, or go out and, you know, just trust in him and step out in faith and do things that really you don't expect, that you would just do that you would go out and you would be willing, you know, to follow through and to be obedient with him. And I just want to encourage you with that you would just go out and be obedient. And it's going to hurt, but I think as long as you surround yourself with those community of fellow Christian believers, that they're just going to encourage you and lift you up, that you would just have those people to pray for you, you know, that God, whatever you want, you would, you know, speak to me through, and that God would give you that peace to know that that is part of his plan for you. And so I just want to encourage you that yes, it's going to hurt, and sometimes in order for us to grow, it's going to hurt, but other times, you know, it doesn't really hurt as bad. But I just want you to know that, you know, things are going to work out the way they're supposed to, and that, you know, if you know, the thing that God is calling you to do, if it's, you know, really part of your plan, that it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I just want to encourage you to stay faithful and to stay obedient and to trust in him. So yeah,